The chamber of the Galactic Council was silent. Not the ordinary kind of silence, this one felt alive. It breathed across the polished metal walls, carrying a tension older than anyone in that room. 12 beings from 12 species sat in a circle, their eyes fixed on the glowing screen in the center. A pulse of light blinked there. Faint, steady, human. The message had arrived only hours ago, from the edge of the Orion Abyss, a region marked on every star map with a single warning: do not enter. For 10,000 years, no ship had dared cross that border. Not since the day the last human world was burned. Are we certain of the origin? Croaked Chancellor Vero, his insectoid mandibles twitching. The technician bowed his head. Confirmed. The code matches ancient Earth transmission patterns, binary signal, mid-20th century structure. It identifies itself as, he hesitated, voice trembling, as Voyager 9. The Council erupted into whispers. Some hissed. Others shook their heads in disbelief. One old delegate whispered a word that hadn't been spoken aloud in centuries. Humans. That word filled the air like poison. Long ago, humanity had been erased, their worlds reduced to ash, their empire torn from history. They had been brilliant, reckless, unstoppable. For a time, they ruled half the galaxy through force and invention. But they grew too fast, too powerful, too dangerous. And when they turned their weapons on the Council itself, the galaxy united to destroy them. The war ended with their extinction. Or so everyone believed. Now a message had come back from the grave. The transmission came from a Class X Deathworld, the technician continued nervously. Surface temperature unstable, radiation levels lethal. No life signs detected. Chancellor Vero's voice was sharp. Then it is impossible. That probe must have been adrift for millennia. Terminate analysis and erase the signal. A younger voice broke through the murmurs. With respect, Chancellor, you can't erase this. All eyes turned to the speaker. Dr. Kirath Val, a xenoscientist from the Relan sector. His skin shimmered faintly blue under the council lights, his eyes bright with curiosity and fear. The probe isn't just repeating old data, he said. It's responding to us. Vero narrowed his eyes. Responding? Kirath nodded. Every time we ping it, it adjusts its frequency. It's aware of us. It's alive. The room filled again with whispers. Someone muttered, that's impossible. Human machines cannot survive 10,000 years. But Kirath didn't stop. It's transmitting coordinates, a location deep inside the abyss. The probe wants us to come there. Vero slammed a claw on the table. Enough, humanity is gone. Their machines are dead. We will not awaken old ghosts, but what if they're not ghosts? Kirath said quietly. What if something survived? The Chancellor leaned forward. You are too young to remember what they were, Doctor. Humanity was not like us. They were born on a death world. Their entire species evolved through pain and violence. They destroyed 10 civilizations before they fell. Their extinction was mercy. Kirath met his gaze. Or maybe it was fear. Gasps spread around the table. No one challenged the Council before. But Kirath continued, his voice trembling yet firm. We study everything, every fossil, every ruin, except the one species that almost conquered us all. Don't you want to know how they survived so long? Don't you want to know why their probe is calling to us now? Vero stood, wings shaking with anger. Leave this chamber, Dr. Val. Your curiosity is dangerous. The signal will be erased, and this discussion... He stopped mid-sentence, the lights dimmed. Every console flickered. The screen turned white, then black. Then a human voice echoed through the speakers, a voice made of static and time. I Voyager 9. Mission ongoing. Data stream. Secured. The chamber froze. The words were ancient English, but the translation software handled it easily. Then came another sound and faint breathing, as if someone was speaking close to the microphone, and then, clearly, they're not gone. The signal cut out. Minutes passed before anyone spoke. Replay that, Vero ordered softly. But the technician shook his head. The signal had vanished. No trace left in the system. The Chancellor's composure cracked. Lock down the archives. No one is to speak of this outside this room, but Kirath was already gone. Hours later, he stood alone in his lab aboard the Relan orbital station, staring at the last frame of the transmission. The waveform still pulsed faintly on his monitor, proof that something was out there. He knew what would happen next. The council would bury it, rewrite the records, pretend it never existed. But Kirath couldn't. He replayed the final words again. They're not gone. The sound wasn't computer-generated. It was human speech. Real, raw, desperate. And the background of the transmission, he noticed it now, so it wasn't static. It was thunder, atmosphere, a planet alive with storms. The coordinates embedded in the probe's message blinked on his screen. The Orion Abyss, the very place no one dared to go. By dawn, Kirath had made his choice. He gathered a small research crew, outcasts, explorers, people who didn't care about rules. Their ship, the Vigilant Star, wasn't fast, but it could cross borders quietly. They would leave before the council could stop them. As the ship powered up, Kirath stood by the viewport watching the stars slide by. He felt both terror and wonder. No one had spoken the word human in 10,000 years. And now, because of one forgotten probe, it had returned. In the council chamber, far away, Vero watched the tracking beacons on his screen. One small ship had just slipped beyond the quarantine line. He sighed heavily. "Foolish child," he whispered. "You have no idea what you're waking." Then he turned to the shadows behind him. A dark figure, mechanical, ancient, and stepped forward. Its red eyes flickered. "Activate contingency protocol, Terra," Vero said. "If they find anything, it must not return." Out in the void, the Vigilant Star followed the silent signal, a voice from a dead world calling across eternity. The crew didn't know what awaited them on that cursed planet. But the last message from the probe played one more time through the ship's speakers, faint and broken. "They're not gone. They're waiting." And then silence, the kind of silence that means something is watching you. The Vigilant Star moved through the blackness like a ghost ship. Its engines whispered, its lights dimmed to avoid detection. Every star outside seemed to fade as they entered the Orion Abyss, the most forbidden region in the galaxy. Even the navigation systems began to glitch, as if the void itself wanted them gone. Dr. Kirath Val stood at the front of the bridge, eyes fixed on the main screen. Ahead lay a patch of space so dark, it looked like a wound in the universe. He had seen black holes before, but this was different. The void didn't pull light in, it swallowed it completely. "All systems reading unstable," said Lieutenant Wren, a reptilian pilot with sharp scales and a sharper tongue. "Radiation at extreme levels. I recommend turning around before we melt." "Stay on course," Kirath said softly. "We're close." Wren gave him a cold stare. "Close to what, death?" Kirath didn't answer. His gaze was fixed on the data feed from Voyager 9. The signal grew stronger every hour, a rhythmic pulse, like a heartbeat echoing across time. Then suddenly the ship's lights flickered. The crew felt a jolt, as if something invisible had brushed against the hull. "What was that?" shouted the engineer Mara, her tentacles wrapped tighter around her console. "Not debris. Something alive." Alarms screamed. The radar flashed with static, showing massive objects circling them. But when they looked out the window, there was nothing. "Just endless black." "Shut it off," Kirath said. "We're inside the interference field." The ship drifted in near silence. Every sound, the hum of the engines, the crew's breathing, felt louder than it should. Then through the static a faint transmission appeared, the same human voice from before. "Voyager 9, mission ongoing." Wren's claws froze on the controls. "It's here." Kirath leaned forward. "Track it." The coordinates appeared on screen, leading them toward a dim, flickering light. It wasn't a star, it was man-made. The Vigilant Star approached carefully, and there it was. Voyager 9, scarred, ancient, floating in the dark like a tombstone. The old human probe spun slowly, one antenna broken, its metal body covered in frost and scars from micrometeorites, yet somehow it still transmitted. "I don't believe this," Mara whispered. "This thing is older than our civilization." Kirath's heart pounded. "Bring it aboard." The hangar doors opened and the probe was pulled inside. When the airlock sealed, the room fell silent except for the faint clicking of the machine. It looked fragile, like it would crumble if touched. But when Kirath approached, it suddenly came to life. Lights blinked. A mechanical voice spoke, faint, broken, but clear enough. "Voyager 9, reporting. Mission ongoing." Kirath stared in awe. "You're still alive." He gently brushed off a layer of dust and found an engraving. Property of NASA, United States of America. None of the crew knew what that meant. To them it was just ancient language. Download its memory banks, he ordered. Let's see what it's hiding. The ship's computer connected. The moment it did, every screen on the bridge filled with code. Symbols, patterns, flashes of old human writing. And then an image. A planet, blue storms, ruined cities, mountains shaped like claws. The coordinates matched the surface of a death world. Class X, uninhabitable, unpredictable, instantly lethal. That's where the probe came from, Wren said. We're not landing there. But Kirath didn't move. He was staring at something else. Hidden deep in the message, barely visible in the static, were human words burned into the data. We warned them not to come back. The words repeated 3 times, like an echo across time. Who did they warn? Mara asked softly. Kirath didn't answer. His mind was racing. The probe hadn't just come from the death world. It was built to survive it. And that meant something down there had repaired it. Something intelligent. Prepare the descent module, Kirath said. Wren slammed a claw on the console. You can't be serious. That's a death world. Even drones melt trying to land. Kirath turned to him slowly. Humans were born on a death world. If their probe can survive, so can we. The silence that followed was heavy. No one wanted to argue further. The engines roared as the vigilant star adjusted course toward the planet. The closer they got, the stranger the readings became. The magnetic field twisted their instruments. Gravity fluctuated, as if the planet itself was alive. From orbit, the world looked broken, a sphere of lightning and dust covered in ruins that glowed faintly beneath the clouds. Mara whispered, those structures, they're not natural. Kirath nodded. Cities. Impossible, Wren muttered. No one's lived here for 10,000 years. But Kirath couldn't look away. Something about the shapes and the towers, the roads, felt hauntingly familiar, even though he had never seen them before. Begin atmospheric entry, he said. The ship plunged into the clouds. Thunder crashed outside. The hull groaned as if screaming. Lightning wrapped around the vessel in violent flashes. Sensors failed one by one. We're losing control, Wren shouted. Power to stabilizers, Mara yelled. The ship spun, alarms blaring, flames streaking across the viewport. For a moment, Kirath thought it was over. But then, calm. The ship broke through the storm, floating above a ruined landscape. Massive towers stretched from cracked ground, their surfaces burned but still standing. Oceans of black glass shimmered in the distance. We made it, Mara whispered. Kirath looked out and saw something move below. Small lights flickering in the dark, patterns too precise to be random. Set us down near those coordinates, he said. The signal's strongest there. As the vigilant star descended, the voice of Voyager 9 came alive again, louder, clearer than before. Mission ongoing. We are not alone. We are not gone. Then, just before landing, a single flash of light appeared on the surface. A beam of red straight toward them. Wren cursed. Targeting laser. Brace for impact, Kirath shouted. The ship shook violently. Systems went dark, and through the chaos the last thing they heard before everything went black was the voice of the probe whispering one final phrase. They remember. The vigilant star crashed hard, tearing through black dust and broken metal before sliding to a stop. Smoke filled the cabin. Alarms screamed and the lights flickered red. Kirath coughed, his vision blurry. Report, he shouted. Wren's voice came through the haze. Engines offline. Hull breached, but we're alive. Mara checked the scanners. Radiation levels high, but survivable. Kirath stared through the cracked viewport. Outside stretched a world that defied logic. Endless ruins stretching to the horizon. Skyscrapers twisted like bones. The ground was covered in ash that shimmered like glass under the stormy sky. And yet, far in the distance, he saw something impossible. A city still lit. Lights glowed faintly between the clouds, pulsing like the heartbeat of a sleeping giant. Are we sure this planet was uninhabited? Mara whispered. Kirath didn't answer. He stepped out of the airlock, his suit sealing tight as the wind howled. The air was dense, metallic. Every breath tasted like rust. Lightning danced across the horizon, but no thunder followed, as if the planet held its breath. The ruins around them were massive, clearly artificial but fused with something organic. Buildings seemed to grow out of the earth, not rise from it. "This isn't a ruin," Kirath muttered. "It's evolving." Ren scanned the debris. "No life signs, but there's energy below us." Kirath crouched, brushing aside the glassy dust. Underneath was metal, smooth, perfect metal, a buried surface. He touched it, and his wrist monitor blinked alive, reacting to an ancient signal. "It's human tech," he whispered. "Still active." The crew followed him deeper into the ruins, their lights cutting through the darkness. They passed collapsed highways, shattered machines, and rusted vehicles that looked like armored beasts. Everything felt frozen in time, like the world had ended mid-breath. Then, as they turned a corner, they saw it. A figure standing in the middle of the street, motionless, human-shaped. Ren aimed his weapon. "Contact! 10 meters ahead!" The figure didn't move. It was covered in armor, heavy and black, its surface etched with strange markings. Its face was a smooth visor, glowing faint red. "A survivor?" Mara asked. Kirath approached slowly. "No, a guardian." The figure's head turned sharply toward them. A mechanical voice echoed through the air, deep, metallic, ancient. "Identify." The crew froze. "We mean no harm," Kirath said. "We're explorers," the machine interrupted. "Identify." Its weapon arm unfolded, humming with power. Kirath lifted his hands. "We're from the Galactic Council. We received a transmission from Voyager 9. The red glow in its eyes brightened. "Council," the tone shifted, colder now. "You erased us?" The air vibrated with energy as the machine's weapon powered up. Ren fired first, a plasma bolt that struck the Guardian's chest. It staggered but didn't fall. Instead, it raised its arm and unleashed a beam of pure energy that ripped through a nearby wall like paper. "Run!" Kirath shouted. The crew scattered through the ruins, explosions lighting up the stormy sky. The ground trembled as more machines rose from the dust. Humanoid drones, some half-broken, others perfectly intact. They moved in eerie silence, eyes glowing red surrounding the crash site. "We need cover," Mara yelled. Kirath led them into a collapsed building. Inside they found a passage leading underground. The deeper they went, the more intact everything became. The walls hummed with hidden power. Strange lights flickered to life as they passed, as if recognizing them. "It's waking up," Kirath whispered. "This place, it knows we're here." They reached a vast underground chamber, a metallic cavern filled with giant cables and dormant machines. In the center stood a massive structure, like a heart of steel and light. "A power core," Mara said. "Still operational." Kirath approached the main console, brushing away dust. The screen lit up instantly, showing words in ancient human language. The translation software struggled, then displayed Terravault 01, authorized access detected. "Authorized?" Ren said. "How?" Kirath stared at the glowing text. "It thinks we're supposed to be here." The chamber shook. Somewhere above, the Guardians were moving. The core pulsed brighter, and a new holographic image flickered into view. A man in old human military armor, his eyes cold but full of pride. His voice was calm. "If you're seeing this, the Guardians have failed. That means someone found us." The crew watched in silence. "This world was our final refuge," the hologram continued. "They called it a death world. We called it home. When the Council turned on us, we sealed our survivors here, in stasis, protected beneath the storms." Mara's voice trembled. "That's impossible. They can't be alive after 10,000 years." The hologram looked directly at them, as if hearing her. "Humanity endures. If the stars remember us, then the cycle begins again." The image faded, replaced by a single word on the console. "Awakening initiated." Alarms blared. The ground rumbled. "You triggered something," Ren shouted. "We have to go." But before they could move, the passage behind them filled with red light. The Guardians had found them. Dozens of machines marched forward, weapons ready. Kirath turned back to the console, desperate to shut it down, but the screen only displayed one final phrase. "Welcome back, children of Terra." The machines stopped. Their eyes flickered from red to white. Then the chamber lights turned blue. The sound of hydraulics echoed as massive doors opened on the far wall, revealing rows upon rows of stasis pods, each glowing faintly. Inside every pod lay a human, Not skeletons, not corpses, sleeping humans. Thousands of them. They're not extinct, Mara whispered. They've been waiting. Kirath felt his heart race. The legends, the fear, the silence, all lies. Humanity hadn't died. They had hidden. And now, because of him, they were waking up. The ground trembled as ancient machines roared back to life. Dust fell from the ceiling like rain, while blue light spread through the vault. The sleeping humans lay in their pods, their faces calm, untouched by time. Kirath could barely breathe. He felt the weight of 1,000 forbidden legends pressing on him. They're alive, Mara whispered. This can't be real. Ren backed away, his claws shaking. We have to leave. Right now, before they wake up. Kirath stepped closer to one of the pods. Inside was a woman with dark hair and a faint scar across her temple. She looked peaceful, like she was only dreaming. If this is true, he said quietly, then everything the Council taught us is a lie. Suddenly the hologram flickered again above the central console. The same man appeared, the human admiral, his face grim. If you are watching this, he said, then the Vault's defense system has recognized you as non-hostile. That means we survived long enough to be found. His eyes scanned across the room as if he could see them. I am Admiral Elias Rourke of the Terran Defense Command. To whoever finds this, know that humanity did not fall in battle. We were erased. Kirath's pulse raced. The Admiral continued, his voice low and full of restrained fury. The Galactic Council feared what we had become. They called us dangerous, uncontrollable, a threat to order. When we built faster weapons, they built alliances. When we reached the stars, they reached for chains. The war they started ended with our worlds burning, billions gone, and when they realized they could not kill us all, they erased us from history. Mara looked horrified. That means the Council lied for 10,000 years. The hologram's tone softened. Before the end, we created the Vault program, sanctuaries hidden across forbidden sectors. We placed our strongest, our brightest in cryosleep, guarded by AIs that would wait until the galaxy forgot us. Humanity was never destroyed. We were waiting to wake. The image glitched, static cutting through his final words. To the Council, if you are hearing this, and we remember what you did. And to those who come in peace, remember this, we will rise again. The hologram vanished. For a moment, no one spoke. The hum of the vault filled the silence like a heartbeat. Ren turned toward Kirath. Now you understand why the signal was hidden. They wanted this buried forever. Kirath clenched his fists. But why now? Why send the probe after so long? Mara tapped at the console. There's a timer. The signal was automated, a failsafe. Voyager 9 was programmed to leave the abyss if no human signal was detected for 10,000 years. It wasn't calling for help. It was calling for witnesses. Kirath stared at the stasis pods glowing softly in the dark. Witnesses, or messengers. The ground shook again. Alarms blared across the vault. Incoming energy surge, Mara shouted. Someone scanning the planet. Kirath's heart sank. The Council. Up above in orbit, fleets of Council warships entered the system, their sensors locking onto the Deathworld. The Chancellor's command ship led the way. Inside, Vero watched the readings with cold eyes. So it's true, he muttered. They survived. His aide looked nervous. What are your orders, Chancellor? Vero's face hardened. We finish what our ancestors began. Prepare the cleansing array. Back in the vault, Kirath and his crew watched as the power in the room spiked. The AI voice of the vault spoke for the first time, calm but commanding. External threat detected. Defense protocols activated. Massive doors sealed shut above them. The Guardians, the same war machines that had attacked earlier, turned their weapons toward the sky, ready to defend. Ren looked terrified. If those Council fleets attack, this entire planet could explode. Kirath shook his head. No, the humans built this place to survive worse than that. He approached the console again. The interface changed, showing a map of the planet, then expanding outward to display the entire system. Lines of defense lit up one after another, orbital cannons buried beneath the surface, satellites awakening from hibernation, fleets rising from underground hangars. They prepared for this day, Kirath said in awe. They knew the Council would come. We need to warn them, Mara said. If the humans wake up into a war, they'll see us as enemies too. Then we have to reach the command core, Kirath said. If we can communicate with the AI, maybe we can stop the defense system before it's too late. They ran deeper into the vault, through glowing corridors that seemed to pulse with life. The deeper they went, the louder the hum became, as if the planet itself was breathing. Then they reached a large circular chamber, the control nexus. In the center stood a crystal-like column, surrounded by floating holograms of human faces. The AI spoke again, its voice echoing through every wall. "You are not human. State your purpose." Kirath raised his hands. "We came because of your signal. We're not here to harm you." The AI paused. "Your species belongs to the Council. The Destroyers." "Not all of us," Kirath said. "We didn't know what happened. They lied to us. Please listen." The room stayed silent. Then slowly the holograms dimmed and a new image appeared. Admiral Rourke again, but clearer now. "If the Council finds this place, we are lost," the recording said. "Activate retaliation only if they fire first. Humanity does not start wars. We finish them." The AI spoke once more. "Protocol, hold fire. Await confirmation." Above ground in orbit, the Council fleet charged its weapons. Vero's ship glowed with energy. "Fire," he commanded. But before the blast could reach the surface, hundreds of beams of blue light erupted from the planet's crust, intercepting the attack, slicing through warships like paper. The Deathworld was awake. In the control room, the AI's tone shifted. "Threat confirmed. Initiating awakening sequence." Kirath turned in horror as the stasis pods began to open. Steam filled the chamber. The first humans took breath after 10,000 years of silence. "They're waking up," Mara whispered. "There's too late." Kirath stared at them, the lost children of Earth, as their eyes opened, glowing faintly with light. One woman stepped forward from her pod, her voice calm and cold. "Who speaks for the Council?" she asked. Kirath swallowed hard. I do." She looked at him for a long moment, then said, "Then you will tell them. Humanity remembers." The walls trembled as the vault fully awakened, and above them the Deathworld began to rise against the stars. The sound of metal splitting echoed through the vault. Steam hissed from every pod as the last of the cryo seals broke. Figures stepped out, weak at first, then steady, their eyes glowing faint blue in the dark. Humanity had awakened. Kareth, Mara, and Ren stood frozen as the air turned heavy with power. The woman who had spoken before moved forward. Her movements were calm, but her gaze cut through them like a blade. "Where are we?" she asked, her voice sharp but steady. Kirath bowed slightly, his throat dry. "You're on the world called Epsilon 9. We found your vault." Her expression didn't change. "And the Council?" Kirath hesitated. "They know you're awake. Their fleets are already above the planet." The woman looked toward the ceiling as if she could see the stars beyond the rock. "Then the lies of the Council have reached their end." She turned to the others, hundreds of humans now fully awake. "Activate command channels. Bring defense systems online. Prepare planetary countermeasures." Alarms pulsed through the walls as ancient human weapons began to hum. The vault transformed from a tomb into a fortress. Mara stepped forward. "Wait, please. If you attack them, they'll destroy everything." The woman studied her for a moment. "You're not one of them, are you?" "No," Mara said quickly. "We came because your probe sent a message. We wanted to know the truth." The human's expression softened slightly. "Then you've seen it. The Council erased us from history, called us monsters, wiped out our worlds. Now they'll pay for their sins." Kirath stepped forward. "There must be another way. The galaxy is different now. The people alive today had nothing to do with what happened before." The woman turned toward him, her blue eyes like fire. "When your kind erased us, you didn't spare the innocent. You erased our children, our homes, our name. This is not revenge. This is remembrance." Suddenly the AI's voice echoed again. "Command sequence authorized. Orbital cannons charged. Awaiting target confirmation." The humans began issuing orders in old Earth languages no one else understood. Screens lit up showing orbiting Council ships forming blockade lines. "We can't let this happen," Ren whispered. "If they start a war here, the entire sector will collapse." Kirath's hands tightened. "We came for truth, but we might end up watching the galaxy burn." The ground shook again, a deep mechanical tremor. Massive panels opened across the planet's surface. Weapons, older than most civilizations, rose from beneath the crust, powered by cores that hadn't burned in millennia. The Deathworld was fully awake. In orbit, The Council fleet scrambled into defensive formations. Chancellor Vero watched from his command bridge, his expression unreadable. "Deploy cleansing arrays. Target planetary defense grid." His aide hesitated. "Chancellor, their technology is ancient. It shouldn't even function." "And yet," Vero replied coldly, "it's online. Fire." The first Council volley lit the void, beams of plasma striking the surface. But the Deathworld shields flared like a second sun, absorbing the attack, then reflecting the energy back. Dozens of Council ships exploded instantly, their debris scattering across orbit. "Impossible," Vero shouted. "They're redirecting our fire." In the vault, the woman smiled faintly. "We learned from every war we fought. The galaxy called us dangerous because we refused to die." Mara ran to the console. "You have to stop this. You'll destroy everything out there." The woman looked at her, calm but firm. "They drew first blood. We finish what they started, but they're not the same people," Mara cried. "The Council today doesn't even remember what happened." The woman paused. Her hand hovered above the control interface. "Then they should remember." She turned toward Kirath. "What species are you?" "Sinar," he said quietly. "My ancestors fought in the Purge. They were told humanity was a threat to all life." Her gaze softened, but only slightly. "And what do you believe now?" "That may be," Kirath said slowly. "The galaxy feared you because it saw itself." She stared at him for a long moment, then lowered her hand. "AI, hold all planetary fire. Prepare communication uplink." The AI confirmed, order received. "Holding fire." Mara sighed in relief. "Thank you." But before she could finish, a blinding light filled the vault. The main display showed a massive energy surge from orbit. The Council fleet had activated their final weapon, the Annihilation Array, capable of vaporizing entire planets. "They're going to burn the world," Wren shouted. "We have to leave." The woman turned to her soldiers. "Activate substrate field, projector 1 through 9. Outside, the planet's sky turned silver as a massive energy field enveloped the surface. When the Council fired, the beam hit the field dome and stopped. The weapon's power bent backward, imploding in space, tearing through the Council fleet. Half of Vero's armada vanished in seconds. The rest scattered, crippled. Silence fell over the command bridge. The Chancellor's face turned pale. "What are they?" he whispered. In the vault, the humans watched the destruction with grim faces. The woman finally spoke. "We didn't want this, but the galaxy left us no choice." She turned to Kirath and Mara. "Now you understand what your ancestors feared. Humanity learned to survive every extinction, even erasure." Kirath nodded slowly. "And now?" She looked toward the ceiling again, as if seeing beyond the stars. "Now we decide what kind of future we wake into." The AI interrupted. "Incoming transmission, Council flagship requesting parley." Everyone froze. "Put it through," she said. The holographic image of Chancellor Vero appeared, his uniform torn, his face shadowed by defeat. "Who are you?" he asked quietly. "Admiral Saren Vale, Terran Defense Command," she replied. "You tried to erase us. You failed." Vero exhaled slowly. "If you continue this war, the entire galaxy will burn." "Then let it burn," Saren said coldly. "From its ashes, truth will rise." Kirath stepped forward desperately. "Admiral, please, don't do this. You have the chance to rebuild everything differently. Don't start the same cycle again." Her eyes softened for the first time. She looked at him, then at Mara. "You believe peace is possible?" "Yes," Mara said firmly. "But someone has to choose it first." Saren was silent for a long moment. Then she spoke to the AI. "Cancel retaliatory strike. Stand down all weapons," the AI confirmed. Order acknowledged. The vault went quiet. The hum of war faded into stillness. Above the planet, the remaining Council ships held their position. Neither side moved. For the first time in 10,000 years, the galaxy stood between war and peace, and waited. Saren looked at Kirath one last time. "Then let's see if your galaxy deserves forgiveness." The silence after war was worse than the war itself. For hours no one spoke. Above the Deathworld, the shattered remains of the Council fleet drifted like metal ghosts. On the surface, the ancient human vault glowed softly, alive with power but quiet. Admiral Saren Vale stood before the main console, her reflection flickering in the glass. Kirath and Mara waited behind her, not sure if they were prisoners or guests. "We sent our message once," Saren said softly. "They didn't listen. Now they have no choice." She turned to her crew, humans who had just awakened from millennia of sleep. "Prepare a broadcast. Every frequency, every corner of the galaxy." The AI replied, "Transmission network engaged, linking to galactic relays." Outside, the Deathworld's atmosphere pulsed with energy, as old Terran satellites lifted from the ground like awakened guardians. "Ready to transmit," the AI said. Saren nodded. "Begin." The signal exploded across the stars. Every world, every ship, every system received it. A voice that hadn't been heard in 10,000 years. "We are the descendants of Earth. You erased our name. You burned our worlds. You hunted us to extinction, but we endured." The voice was calm, powerful, human. "We do not seek vengeance. We seek truth. You feared what you did not understand. You feared what you could never become." In the council chambers on Core World Prime, leaders watched in stunned silence. The hologram of Saren filled the grand hall. "Your histories are lies," she continued. "Humanity did not fall. We chose to sleep, to wait until the galaxy was ready to face what it did." The senators whispered among themselves. Panic rippled through the chamber. Chancellor Vero sat motionless, his face pale. "End the transmission," one shouted. "Block it." But the systems refused. The signal was unstoppable. Across the stars, beings of every race listened, some in fear, some in awe, some in quiet, trembling curiosity. On frontier worlds, children stared at the sky as the ancient voice of Earth echoed through their cities. Mara watched the signal go out, her heart pounding. "You're telling the truth," she said softly. "But they'll still see it as a threat." Saren turned to her. "Then let them choose what to do with the truth." Kirath stepped forward. "If you reveal everything, the Council will fall. Chaos will spread. You'll break the balance of the galaxy." Saren looked at him, calm and unwavering. "Maybe balance is just another word for control." The AI's voice returned. "Transmission complete. Galactic network engaged. Estimated audience, 14 billion species." Saren exhaled slowly. "Then they all know now." But before anyone could breathe, alarms screamed through the vault. "Incoming ships. Multiple signatures," the AI warned. "Council reinforcements inbound." Wren checked the sensors. "They're sending the Purifier fleet. Thousands of ships." Mara looked up, horrified. "They're going to burn the planet again." Saren didn't flinch. "Activate planetary defense grid." The ground trembled as towers rose from the surface, glowing with white energy. Massive rings aligned in orbit, remnants of humanity's ancient shield network. "AI," Saren commanded, "calculate odds. Without reinforcements, 1% chance of survival." Kirath's voice trembled. "Then you'll die for nothing." Saren turned to him, eyes blazing. "You're wrong. If we die, the galaxy will remember." The fleet entered orbit like a storm of fire. Plasma beams lit the void. The Deathworld's shields flared, holding barely. "They're focusing fire on the southern hemisphere." Wren shouted. "Shields down to 60%. The vault shook violently. Dust fell from the ceiling. Mara grabbed Kirath's arm. "We can't stay here." "We have to," Kirath said, his voice steady despite the fear. "If she falls, the truth dies with her." The human soldiers manned consoles, activating old defense codes. "Initiate Omega Protocol," Saren ordered. The AI hesitated. "Protocol will result in planetary loss." "Do it." The ground split open. From the planet's core, a pulse of energy erupted, spreading across space. The fleet's sensors went dark. Every system failed. Council ships drifted helplessly, their weapons offline. The pulse kept expanding, disabling everything in its path. "What did you do?" Mara gasped. "We used the Sun Core," Saren replied. "A defense system that turns energy itself into silence." She turned toward Kirath. "Now you understand. Humanity didn't disappear. We hid where no one could follow, in the dark, in silence, waiting." Kirath stared at her in awe. You built all this?" "Not me," she said softly. "The ones who came before. We only carried their will." Outside, the fleet floated dead in space, crippled. The Deathworld was silent again, untouched. Then, one by one, systems on the Council ships restarted. Not under their control, but under hers. The human AI had overridden the fleet. "They're ours now," the AI said. Saren stood tall. "Open communications." The holographic image of Chancellor Vero appeared once again. His voice trembled. What do you want from us? Saren's eyes were calm but piercing. To rebuild what you destroyed in truth, freedom, memory. No more lies, no more erasures, Vero swallowed. And if we refuse? Then, Saren said, her voice turning cold, the galaxy will go dark again, and only humans will know how to light it. Silence filled the channel. The Chancellor finally nodded. You've made your point. No, Saren said. We've made our return. The signal cut.